I like the rope and stanchion. That's the new addition. Whoever did that's getting a raise. Good afternoon. As you've all by now probably heard, the President is placing a big emphasis on workforce development. Secretary of Labor Acosta and Secretary of Education DeVos, along with the President's daughter Ivanka and Reed Cordish from the Office of American Innovation, have been deeply involved in this effort. And Secretary Acosta had the opportunity to address this issue just a few moments ago at the President's first meeting with his fully confirmed cabinet. So I'd like to kick it off by having Secretary Acosta come up, talk to you a little bit about this initiative and take a few questions. With that, Secretary Acosta.
Thank you and good afternoon. I especially want to thank the work that's been done by Ivanka Trump and the Office of American Innovation to develop the proposals that we'll be talking about this week. I'll be traveling with her tomorrow to Wisconsin, where we'll be looking at some excellent programs. Her leadership on this issue has been invaluable. As you know by now, the President will be making an important announcement regarding apprenticeships this week. He'll be visiting the Department of Labor on Wednesday. There are currently 6 million job openings in the United States, vacant jobs that can be filled. This is the highest number of job vacancies ever. A Business Roundtable survey released just last week found that 95% of executives reported problems finding qualified workers. Americans want to work. American companies want to hire. The issue is a mismatch between available jobs and prospective employees' job skills. This skills gap is a particular challenge in some of the fastest growing sectors of the economy, healthcare and information technology. And it also persists in some of the more traditional sectors of the economy. There are currently 360,000 job vacancies in manufacturing. There are 200,000 job vacancies in construction. And with the upcoming plans for infrastructure, those job vacancies in construction are only going to increase. Apprenticeships teach skills needed to bridge this skills gap. An apprenticeship combines a paid work component with an educational component. Apprentices earn while they learn, and in the process they largely avoid the substantial student debt that you see with higher education today. The most obvious benefit of apprenticeships is a good job. Individuals who complete apprenticeship programs have an average starting salary of about $60,000 a year. 9 out of 10 are employed upon completion of the programs. Both the starting salary and the employment rate are higher than that of traditional college graduates. Apprenticeships are also going to increase to labor productivity. Apprentices hit the ground running. When they start a job, they're more able, more productive, and tend to be more loyal to the employer. Despite these benefits, apprenticeships make only about 3% of the American workforce. This administration will expand apprentices across most, if not all, industries. Higher education, too, should assume responsibility for promoting apprenticeships. Community colleges and four-year colleges have an obligation to work with students to educate them in skills they need to succeed. Demand-driven, experience-based education is not new. It's used to some extent in the healthcare sector. Demand-driven, experience-based education can be improved, and it can be used in a wide variety of sectors to further expand the workforce. Incorporating apprenticeships into 2- and 4-year degree programs would offer students both traditional learning and skills-based learning. And this is particularly important for those students who learn better by doing. President Trump has seen firsthand the success of apprenticeship programs in the building trades, where he is very familiar. The building trades invest nearly $1 billion a year of private money into the apprenticeship program. President Trump has made clear his commitment to expand job opportunities here in America. Apprenticeships is one very important way that President Trump will fulfill that promise. And again, I'm very excited to work with Ivanka Trump and Reed Cordish and the Office of American Innovation as this program goes forward. Questions? Yes. I'm sorry, yes, in the front.
So how exactly do you plan to expand these apprenticeships? What is the government going to do? I guess it's our understanding that it's not necessarily, you're not going to put more money towards these programs. So how are these apprenticeships going to expand?
So if you look in the building trades, there's almost $1 billion that's spent every year. and that's all private sector money. The building trades have put together labor management organizations that jointly invest in these apprenticeship programs because they know both on the labor side and the management side that a skilled workforce is critical to the building trades. And that's how it's worked for a number of years. I've talked to several CEOs. Ivanka Trump has spoken to several CEOs. And there's excitement in the business sector. The private-private partnership where businesses come together with educational institutions to actually focus on demand-driven education, to focus education on the skills that business is demanding has worked in other sectors and can work throughout the economy. Yes?
So the question is, where exactly do you see these apprenticeships? Because most of the complaints against it is that it's for low-paying jobs and not the higher education jobs that you need, and that it amounts to nothing more than indentured servitude.
So that's just factually wrong. If you look at Department of Labor data, the average starting salary for an apprentice is $60,000 a year, and that's higher than a college graduate. You know, I was out in Michigan at the Ford facility. I met with some of the apprentices at the Ford facility, and they love it. They love it. Let me finish. They love it. They are excited about it, and they're being paid a very, very good wage. I should add, though, that you see apprenticeships in white-collar positions as well. There are a number of firms that we're talking to that are looking at it for areas like bookkeeping, accounting. If you look at law schools, for example, there's been conversations, even in law schools, about the need for more experience-based education. The Carnegie Commission came out with a report a number of years ago about the importance of experience-based education in law. So the point I'm making is we need to stop thinking that this is limited to a certain kind of the job sector. Experience-based education works throughout all sectors of the economy. Yes, in the middle right there.
Just a quick follow-up, if I may. Just a quick follow-up.
One follow-up.
Okay, so but is your program geared towards the white-collar jobs or to mostly?
Our program is geared toward, will be geared to all industries and all jobs. The point here is to foster private-private partnerships between industry and educational institutions so that when students go to a community college or when students are looking at apprenticeship programs in the building trades or in four-year institutions, when they leave, they have the skills necessary to enter the workforce. In the middle, yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. In the president's budget, it talks about work requirements. Also, Congress is talking about some new welfare reform for able-bodied people. Could this sort of integrate into that at all?
Well, certainly, one of the important aspects of this is the portability of credentials. When someone earns a skill, when someone learns a skill, it's important to signal to other employers that this person knows a certain set of skills. And so I should say the emphasis is on high quality apprenticeships because it's important to not water things down, and it's important to have skills that are portable and that are indicative of quality. Yes, ma'am.
In terms of the overall focus on workforce development, the president's budget contains about 40% cut in all workforce skills programs from the last budget. If workforce development is a priority, why is the president calling for that? And then secondly, my understanding is the budget has about $90 million for apprenticeship programs, which is also what President Obama had requested. How is this expanding what the last administration wanted to do?
Right. So let me circle back to the point I made about private-private partnerships and what the building trades do. The building trades invest $1 billion a year of private money to develop a skilled workforce. And so I want to challenge the assumption that the only way to move policy is to increase government spending. What we're trying to measure here is outcomes, right? And so private to private partnerships, if industry is in the building trades willing to work with labor to foster these programs, isn't that exactly what we want to see? And so we should measure success based on outcomes and not based simply on spending. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
I was calling right in front of you, and then I'll follow up with you. How's that?
So how how do you foster these private-to-private relationships? Is there some executive action that will be taken? Is there a tax policy proposal? How exactly are you proposing that this would happen?
Right. So,
because it hasn't, I guess, organically happened beyond what already exists.
I will answer in two parts. First, you've already seen that to a large extent as we've had roundtables with business leaders, as Ivanka Trump has conducted several meetings with CEOs around the country here at the White House. And the second part to your answer is stay tuned and listen to the Wednesday announcement. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a certain region or group of people you're trying to focus in on with these apprenticeships, especially since, even as the president's saying that the unemployment rate is doing well under his administration, there's still groups of people, be it region or be it by race, be it by gender, that still have issues when it comes to employment. Is there a focus on certain groups, certain regions, certain genders?
So ma'am, you are correct. So the unemployment rate, I believe, is 4.3%. The broader unemployment rate, that is the U6 rate, I believe is now at 8.4%. And as we've had discussions with CEOs that are looking at these apprenticeship programs, one of the items of discussion is a way to work with communities that you typically don't see going into the STEM fields and other fields. And part of that discussion has been, how do you target those groups? How do you reach out? And it's interesting because apprenticeships help here, because apprenticeships bring students together in a cohort model with individuals who are currently working in their field, and so it allows the possibility of role modeling. An apprentice can have a role model that can provide support